Gretch, someone commented on the thumbnail. They had never seen me use the photo of you in the I believe it's a motorized scooter here, but this is one of my favorite Gretch photos I have in my thumbnail library.
This was last summer. Took the family down to LA. We went down to Newport Beach, rented a little scooter. My wife and 2 daughters were sitting on a little bench seat in the back. This is like a little motorized scooter that I'm driving, and they're riding in the back. And we drove up and down Newport for like an hour. It was a blast. But the guy like is like, let me get a picture. You know, like the guy that rented it to us. He's like, yeah, it's like very street vendery, and we're like, all right, here you go. Here's a camera. Like, we'll smile. And so we cropped them out of the picture. That's just me smiling at some guy taking a picture and wondering if he's going to run off with our phone.
And I'm glad that I now know the backstory, because the look you have on your face is exactly, I guess I will smile, but I don't think we need a picture of this.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was like, I'm already worried about driving this thing on like a boardwalk, like a crowded boardwalk. Like,
any chance I have to put a thumbnail up here, the fruits of my labor there in the thumbnail streets. Have a fun show tonight. We are hopping in an FFPC draft, never too early best ball tournament at 9:30. So that'll be getting underway here in a bit. That already filled. So sorry if you were looking to get in on that. I normally tweet it out early in the afternoon if you'd like to join us. I do have down in the show notes, though, if you haven't played at FFPC, they will give you $25 off your first entry if you are new. But we also have some more pressing matters at hand. Ben, after the Omni chatter last week, we are underway across a lot of leagues here. How have things been going on the draft front?
Good, man. Yeah. We started some of our leagues that the 3 of us have done the last couple of years with like the RotoViz crew, with some of the fantasy football guys. We have like one with like JJ and Rich Rebar and Matt Friedman and some of those guys. It's a blast. Davis. And then we started the Ship Chasing Cup. The Omnifantasy Cup is this. So we decided we're going to have these 2 different contests because we have kind of 2 different angles. The original sign-up link we sent out last week is going to turn into a big Omnifantasy Cup. It's going to be a bunch of different 12-team leagues. Really excited about that. I had talked with Kevin Zatlukel, who built the site. He's going to build out a page that will have a combined standings for all the different leagues. So you'll be drafting in a randomized 12-person league, kind of like how you would in like Scott Fishbowl. But so people in the chat are commenting. That has not started yet. I'm sending that email tomorrow. I wanted to cover it tonight first. We're going to start those drafts tomorrow. But we're going to have it looks like about 12 different 12-person leagues. It's going to be about 144, I'm guessing, is where we're going to be. I'm in the mid 130s right now.
Are we in those too?
Yeah, you guys are going to both be in it.
Nice.
Yeah, I've already started I did like a randomization just like an hour ago. Started to set out the different leagues, splitting up people like us, because I'm going to have you guys create the leagues for me that I actually talk to and can walk through, because like I can't create all the leagues or else and then I'm in the leagues. But yeah, it should be a fun little thing. And then the cool thing will be this one big standings page that should be on the front page at omnifantasy.com, where throughout the year, even though you won't necessarily be drafting with all your buddies, you'll be able to see how they're doing. And we're gonna include links to all the different leagues so you can see who they have, what you're up against, all that stuff. Try to take down the first ever Omnifantasy Cup out of like 150 people.
Yeah.
Now those leagues, will they be linking like as we go? Like, could you go check, the ADP of the other?
I don't
leagues?
think so. We're gonna build out that page probably after the draft. The ADP, gotcha. I mean, maybe we'll get Kevin building an ADP tool as we go. We'll see.
That'd be fun. Across the Omnifantasy ADP, Omnifantasy Cup ADP.
Yeah. Or we could see if Josh ADHD, he needs to get those coding fingers nimble for the SFB one. You get, just a little warm up here, tune up. So,
maybe.
Sam said, that your draft is barely moving. We have been pinging guys in the Discord, the 3 leagues in the Ship Chasing Cup. I know in my league, Worm, if you're watching, I know you're deep in the DeFi Kingdom streets. I'm going to need you to stop summoning your heroes and go summon a pick in Omni Fantasy right now. No, Sean, it has not all filled up. Gretch, if people want to sneak on to the form,
I just sent the link in our private chat because I always don't have the comments up, but we dropped that in there.
Yeah, so I'm going to post this in the chat right now. This is the Google form to be in the Omni Cup. I will also put it in the show notes. Although, Ben, when are you going to close off submissions for this?
Well, I'm going to close off tomorrow. One of the things I want to mention is if anybody signed up last week, maybe decided they didn't want to do it, whatever, please let me know, because it's going to be kind of tough to replace people. I'm assuming we're going to have some that are going to be replaced or need to be replaced because they're not getting picks. One of the issues is like the site is a little bit primitive. We don't have like notifications, so we're gonna have to set up like Twitter DM threads so you can kind of ping the guy that's after you pick, or gal after you pick, to let them know that they're on the clock. So that's one of the, like, you got to kind of stay on top of it a little bit. I'm gonna try to stay in all these Twitter DM threads, like 12 of them, and hopefully keep an eye on all these different leagues. Not have a life for the next couple of weeks, because I just think this is an awesome idea. But it is going to be tough, and sometimes people are on the clock for like a whole day. Like, you know, some co-hosts on the show, like our buddy Packer, right?
We would never point fingers, but maybe right there.
Yeah, I would like to point out, you know, you guys always talk about technical difficulties that I've had on the show. No technical difficulties tonight whatsoever. Ben was not able to find me for a full day, however.
Yeah. And it's like this hunt, right? And you're like trying to track him down on Discord. Oh, and then you see him on Twitter. No, he's not there. Maybe he's over on GChat. You're just, hunting around the internet trying to
picking him on Twitter, picking him on Discord. But yeah, no, if you don't want to be in, please let me know. And then, so the reason I said that as well is if somebody's hearing us on the pod or something tomorrow, I'm gonna have to cut it off at a certain point with a number of 12-person leagues. If we get a 13th league, it's looking like I'm adding some people right now, so we'll see. Maybe we'll have 13 leagues. It's probably going to be 12 or 13 total. But I'll probably have to do replacements. And it'll be in the first round and the first pick. If somebody's not able to be, if I can't find somebody to make their first pick, then I'm probably going to just replace them. So DM me, yards per Gretch, if you want in and you missed on the sign up. And I'll have like a little wait list or something. I think Scott Fish does that as well. And it would be greght. Like we'll probably need to drop people in. So that'd be helpful.
The other thing I just dropped in the chat, I did Omnifantasy thread on the Ship Chasing Twitter account over the weekend, and I think I compiled most of the relevant links. It has articles to the Omni Substack Ben put together, rule explainers, strategy. We have links to some of the old videos, a link to the sign up form. So if you want to get caught up there, and then on top of that, Ben, you also just put out an updated strategy post just, was it yesterday?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I had said I was going to do that, and then I never got around to it because we've been working on some bugs on the site and stuff that we got cleaned up. But I did write it. I wrote it kind of quick. Hopefully, it was useful for anyone who read it.
No, it's that stuff is very helpful. Also, Sam Hoppin, our guy, our stat chasing guru, put together a value over replacement chart for the top 30 picks,
which is sweet. And I kind of mentioned it I actually didn't mention it I was going to link to it in the post because I linked to it last year in the strategy post because he did it last year. But that's a sweet tool, the value over replacement tool that he made. It's also like he'll be the first one to tell you it's kind of basic. And I think people are maybe over relying on it. And I kind of touched on that in the strategy post yesterday. So it might be something to look at.
Yeah. Yeah. There's some fun strategy there too. And I think that's also the fun thing of when you get into a couple of these drafts too, is you can kind of approach it from different scenarios. I feel like
where's Sam's value replacement tool?
He's got it on Twitter. He made a
chart. It's part of the thread that I put together. And you can also search on there. I was going to say, Gretch, it seems like the most kind of not necessarily controversial, but the biggest new thing this year, obviously, is the addition of F1, scoping some of these group chats with these top two guys. It seems like people really want those guys, both for how much expected points they have, also because everyone has fallen in love with that F1 show on Netflix. How are you feeling about the F1 bomb that has been dropped into the Omni ecosystem?
Yeah, I mean, it got so loud I had to include it because we got a lot of requests. And then I was trying to kind of argue that it doesn't make a lot of sense because the way they score is just like an aggregate of all the races. There's no like playoff format. So that takes out some of the variance naturally. A lot of people have mentioned to me they have new cars this year. We don't know what's going to happen, all this stuff. I'm just punting it in every league. There's like 3 F1 drivers going in the first round of every draft. It's kind of hilarious.
That's funny. Yeah.
I mean, those projected points, they're just so high for those top guys. You're like,
but only one. I mean, the joy of Omni is only for every sport. One person or one pick scores 80 for the winner. One scores 50, two score 30, and four score 20. And so part of it for me, like you get down to like the third driver, he's going in the first round in almost all these drafts, and it's like, well, that guy, yeah, he's a real good lock for like 30 points probably based on what we're sort of expecting, as long as these card changes don't make a huge difference. But he's probably not in contention for the 80 or 50. If you go look at last year's standings, like no one was really up there with Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen. They were like the top guys. They were 1-2 in like 17 of the 22 races. They were literally first and second in some order in like 75% of the races. Like they blew away that. If you look at the total points, how that added up, they blew away the field. So probably you're drafting a guy who has no shot at 50 or 80. Meanwhile, you have some other sports where the expected points are lower. It's unpredictable, but no one wants to touch the top pick. But like somebody in that sport is going to win 80, right? I don't know. I've tried to think through this. I don't know. How are you guys thinking through that when you're starting out?
That makes sense. I forget which one of the leagues that I sat on the clock for today that I ended up not picking the third F1 driver. He was available in the middle of the first round. And, that was my thought process. Is like, I don't want a guy who's going to finish third in the first round. I wanted to pick someone that I thought could win first place. And I know very, very little about F1, but I knew that it was super top heavy.
And it's super fun just reading because I'm now, and you guys as well, in 3-4 of these group chats and seeing kind of the ways people make decisions. And there are the people who just follow the expected points, trying to get it in good as best they can at every pick. And then there's some people being like, look, I'm not going to watch F1. And I know I'm going to be watching the hockey playoffs, so I'm going to take the Avalanche or whatever. So I think it is fun the way people allow fandom to also kind of dictate how they want to enjoy Omni, which is perfectly viable as well.
Sort of like the point of it, right? We've already gotten to this point where we've turned it into a structural thing, but like the idea is it should just be for fun. But yeah, our buddy Rich Rebar said he had the first pick. I think he took Man City, and he said he would have taken Djokovic if he wasn't scared of some of the vax stuff. But then he said, no way I am even pretending to have the slightest interest in F1 or wanting to follow the results of it on any level, even if it is for a prize. Which I love that breakdown. That's where I'm at.
It is also hilarious. Like Rich is the king, of grinding every micro edge in fantasy football, leaving no stone unturned. He's like, I'm not fucking watching F1. I don't care if I lose. I'm rooting for Man United.
Well, kind of on a similar vein, I had a chance to I took Liverpool in our Ship Chasing Cup league. I passed on Djokovic, which maybe was too much. Although looking at Sam's chart here, he has them dead even in terms of value or replacement. So I feel better about it now. But I did it because who knows how much to factor in the vaccine stuff. But passed on Djokovic, took Liverpool. Then I had an earlier pick where Manchester City was still around in like the 104 or something, grabbed them. And then in the third league, I had a chance to take Liverpool again. And I don't know. I like the idea of having Liverpool in one league, Manchester City in another league. I don't want to double up on Liverpool. So I actually threw away some expected points and went with Georgia just because I think it's more fun to spread it out.
Yeah, I'm that way too. I skipped Liverpool in one draft and so in another one just now. I took Liverpool. I was thinking of Georgia, but I didn't have either yet. But I do like to kind of mix the exposures there too.
All right.
We got Crack's intern in our.
We have lots of fun stuff with this draft. We have a team one named I Hate Wide Receivers. We have Crack's intern. We have Fantasy Mojo. We have there was one team in here, Reach for the Sky with 2 Ys. We have to guess Sky.
I believe
Moore's
Garrett's
MVP
in this
tonight.
league too.
Is he? Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
This is going to be a friends and family draft.
This is great.
Where did we pick last time? Were we 101 or 102? We ended up with JT.
Yeah, we were 102 and got JT, McCaffrey. Right?
I
think we got JT.
Yeah. Is Dubner in the chat tonight? I should pull up our exposures to see when we inevitably land on the guy for the third straight time. Oh my God.
Love Mojo. Does awesome work. Not always a fan of how wide receiver heavy the ship chasing drafts are. it's going to be interesting to see how he leverages that in this draft because
right. Is it you can't beat them, just join them in drafting wide receivers, or is it I am going to battle with my running backs mojo? Reveal your intentions to us in the chat right now. Yeah, seriously, Casey says, please mean it. I hate wide receivers. We're all hoping. I mean, we won't know after round 1 because they're probably going to take McCaffrey or Taylor anyways. It's nice though to have the to mix it up here with the later pick. I feel like we'll have a little bit different of a board.
Yeah, we've been picking from the 101, 102.
Life's rough.
Our first few drafts.
Yeah.
Now, do you guys know I was on the Spike Week pod earlier, and Rob sprung it on me that I had to either have a draft where we only took 6 wide receivers total, or we weren't allowed to draft a wide receiver until round 8. So, first of all, which one would you guys have picked there in an underdog draft?
In an underdog format?
I would have left the show. I would have said thanks for having me on. See ya.
I think for me it's pretty easily first 6 rounds. I would just hammer wide receiver.
I went the other way. I didn't take a wide receiver because we got 12 wide receivers, 20 rounds. So we took.
You would just take 6 and no more, Pete. Just 6 straight to start.
Yeah, I honestly think in the underdog, if you started with 6 straight wide receivers, I think that construction would be viable. I basically done it a lot of times. I normally mix the tight end in there, but yeah, I've done that.
Because I think, Pat, you said you couldn't until round 8. I think you can manage that. I mean, it's tough, but you're basically going.
It was tough. Fragile. Yeah, we went hyper fragile. We got Kyler, then we got Kittle. So there, it's like, and running back, it was like Dalvin Cook, Nick Chubb, Aaron Jones, and Breece Hall. So you're like, that's pretty good. But it's just like then you go Jalen Hurts to get a second quarterback because you just have this wasted 7th round pick you can't use on anything good. So we just took Jalen Hurts. And then I think we had like all the old veterans. It was actually pretty funny. We had like the classic robust. We had like Landry and I think Tyler Boyd and like all those like kind of older, less exciting guys. Julio Jones.
I only got 2 elite tight ends over 2 QBs. I mean, but in the seventh probably didn't make sense. But
we would have had to go Kelsey in the second. But yeah, we could have done that, I guess. What are we doing?
Very interesting with Najee here going 102. Bit of a surprise there. McCaffrey falls into Mojo's lap at 104. He's got to be doing cartwheels here, as Willis mentions. We then have Austin Eckler come off the board, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. One more pick until we're up. Anyone on your guys' wish list?
That was who was on my wish list. Davonte
Adams.
Is Kelsey not?
Yeah.
This is tight end premium, right?
At last I checked, the FFPC is tight end premium. Looking at the ADP, there's obviously Tyreek Hill as well. There's running backs, Henry, Cook, Mixon, Debo, Diggs. Do we like Kelsey here?
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see Tyreek too. I like either of the
I like Tyreek a little bit better than Kelsey, but I'm certainly open to Kelsey.
I feel like
what do you guys think?
Top 5 in this format.
The one, yeah, I guess you're kind of doing 2v2s on, like, I assume one of the other tight ends would be there coming back and maybe even beginning of the third. Not sure. But I'm good with either of these.
Not in the third, but we could have a chance at Pitts or something in the second. But I'm good with Kelsey.
Okay. Yeah, let's get a Kelsey share here.
I was good either. I mean,
I'm going to get
I do think Kelsey with tight end premium, I mean, he's getting up there in age, but like, I don't know. Maybe I've just been drinking some of the Sean's Kool-Aid, but Sean's been talking about how you can make a case for Kelsey or Cup at 101. Those are the 2 names he throws out a lot when we have our discussions on Stealing Bananas about Taylor McCaffrey, the 101. He throws out. He always makes a point to bring up Cup and Kelsey, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, tight end premium, you could make an argument for Kelsey, at least in the top 5.
I heard.
I want a discount on him. I mean, his year was way down from the previous year, which is a major.
But he was banged up for that stretch. He had that stinger, and he was like, I was right in stealing signals that like it seemed like he was old, and then I had kind of missed it. He had the stinger. I had a couple people pointed out to me. I think came back and was really good down the stretch. It's like I think maybe it was just a little bit of a stretch of being banged up.
Yeah. So then we have Cook. Tyreek does go off. The turn goes Derrick Henry and Diggs. The Tyreek owner grabs Pitts. We're going to see what the Dalvin Cook owner does, and then we will be back with Travis Kelce and our second round pick here.
Who do you guys like now?
I mean, I'm down for Debo or AJ Brown.
I like AJ Brown.
I
know Gretsch is probably definitely Debo over AJ Brown, right?
I mean, honestly, I think Debo's probably the guy that I would rank higher, but I'm very much comfortable making either pick.
Pat, I mean, I'm indifferent on the split too. It sounds like you lean AJ over Debo.
I lean AJ, yeah.
All right, let's do it.
I mean, those two tight ends behind us, we probably would have got one to slip because they probably don't go tight end, and one of them probably takes Kelce. But the 2v2 we're talking about, it's what is it like Hill, Andrews, Kelce, Brown? How do you feel about that?
I think that is the 2v2.
I like Kelce Brown.
I like Kelce Brown too. Yeah. I don't mind like being super aggressive on Pitts. I still get a little of I'm buying the top on Mark Andrews based on a lot of those factors last year at the end of the season that I don't know if they're going to exist in the same way.
Yeah. There were a lot of factors.
Yeah. And I think the biggest one, you just look at routes because it factors in the fact that he was running a much higher percentage of routes, which is great. But they never even had anywhere close to 600 dropbacks any other season. He ran over 600 routes, and he used to be more of a part-time guy. So I think his previous career high was 350, if I'm not mistaken. He got all the way up over 600 from 350 as a previous career high. He added an insane amount of routes. He could keep that really high route share again, but the team's pass volume still has to be super high to run 600 routes, and that's hard.
Yeah. Let's see. JW asking you, Pat, if you're putting anything official out on the incoming rookie wide receivers.
I am. Yeah. I'm working on it now. I'll probably have it out maybe the week after the combine on the early round projected wide receivers is kind of what I'm looking at. So that's like 2-3 weeks.
Is that going to be behind the NBC paywall or public?
I don't, unless someone makes me put it behind the paywall, it won't be.
All right.
My plan was just to publish it. Yeah.
They call him Peacock Pat, not Paywall Pat. So you got to keep the article for the people. Yeah. And Sam mentioning on the Debo point that he thinks people are maybe underrating the negative impact that Lance could have on Debo.
Well, I agree with Sam. And I also think that that's going to get baked in eventually once projections hit. Right, like once the projection industry gets cranked up, then I think Debo's ADP will probably fall a bit. So I'm not all that worried about not getting Debo exposure in the early second round.
He's going to be a guy though that gets highlighted a lot in projections as like I don't know what to do with him because of the rushing stuff. Like his rushing is going to get so regressed to long rushing TDs,
right?
And maybe even his attempts, yeah.
But I think efficiency too. It's not just the overall attempts, it's that his efficiency is just off the charts in rushing, just off the charts.
Yeah. Well, what's funny about that is I do agree that in the projections, there's probably going to be a lot of variance, but similar to our FFPC playoff thesis, I still think he's going to be a very comfy pick for people because even if you're worried about a quarterback switch, which I do think you should be, you're still just going to tell yourself, well, they're going to manufacture touches for him. They're going to give him carries, they're going to give him jet sweeps, all this stuff to where I feel like people will talk themselves into a bit more of a safety blanket where that might not necessarily be the case.
That I would say I don't think is wrong. Like,
yeah,
one of the, like, we're already like, you could say you're underrating the Lance thing. I would argue there's an element there where any more of it, we might wind up overrating it because Deebo Samuel is incredibly good. He did produce a lot of his production, on his own without necessarily a ton of Garoppolo doing anything to manufacture it. Certainly the pass attempts come down and everything if Lance is under center. But what if Lance is really good? What if the offense explodes? Because Deebo's like elite, right?
Yeah. Yes, he is.
Well, that's the thing that's I mean, there is no Lance discount on Lance, on Debo. I guess there's a bit of a Lance discount on Kittle just because he's cheaper than he was last year. But I mean, people are at least not drafting Lance like they have any concerns.
Yeah, they're not. But I guess what I'm saying is that like we're kind of going off of what we saw most recently. And in some cases, like I think that's good. Like Jonathan Taylor was going much higher in drafts right after the season than he ultimately went because projections kind of tempered him. And so I actually think like maybe Debo does belong in this range, but projections are going to have their say, and once people are going to go off rankings. Those rankings are based off projections. And so I do think that just naturally his ADP will fall at least a little
and
bit.
More running backs are going to wind up going higher. Just something will happen. I was trying to look at the other receivers he could fall back to. He probably doesn't, but he maybe falls behind all those running backs he went ahead of in this draft, and he's more of a 2-3 turn guy. Does that seem like what you're thinking, Pat?
Yes, I think he's a 2-3 turn guy when it's all said and done.
Where, as a hypothetical, if Jimmy was just coming back and there was no Lance, breathing down his neck or taking over that starting job, where do you think people would be drafting Debo? Same spot? Or do you think they'd be even more confident being like it's business as usual for the Debo role?
Probably a few spots. He probably would have been the 201 here.
Yeah. Because otherwise, I do think we would see a little bit more of that recency bias creep in of like, hey, let's just draft as the season finished last year. And at which case, all of a sudden, Debo's a locked and loaded top 5 wide receiver pick.
You're asking if they still had the same situation and Garoppolo was back and all this stuff?
If people would even be more confident on Debo with the continuity.
I think he would be. I think think what he would land at is maybe a little higher than what Pat was saying. Pat thinks. I think maybe he'd be like 9-10, something like that. Like
9-10 in the first round. Yeah, that might be right. Yeah.
I think there's a little discount. There's not a big one, but that's 8 or 10 big spots to drop from, 109 to 205 or whatever.
Right.
There's this question here before we kind of circle back to our pick that I actually want to get your thoughts on, Pat. It was actually a minute ago, but someone said a sneak peek on your rookies.
Oh, yeah.
People are down on. There you go.
Yeah. So the sneak peek will be tomorrow. I'm having Travis May on the podcast, and we're going to be talking all about the entire class. Travis May of RotoViz, he has the College of Canton podcast. He's like Debbie Streets, has been following these guys for years. We're going to get a ton of context on the class from him. So that'll be, I'll be sharing my thoughts on the wide receivers.
What do you think about that question about selling the picks or trying to buy picks low? Where are you at on that for the class?
I think that the state of the class as I see it is like there's a couple tight ends who look okay. There's basically 1 to 2 running backs who look like pretty solid guys in kind of the Mark Ingram, David Montgomery type of vein. And there's not a ton behind them. There's a few dart throw guys that are interesting who are dart throw guys now who might get draft position. We should take our pick.
Let's take a break on this one. I can just read you from the queue names I'm seeing: Saquon, J.K. Dobbins, Akers.
Why is Saquon available at 309?
I like Saquon, yeah.
I'm not really sure why. I read his name really fast. And like as I read it, I thought, oh, he's out for 2 years with an ACL or something. But why is he here?
I mean, I think we just take him, right?
Let's take
him.
All
right. Okay. We'll tear off Saquon Barkley.
I mean,
that's the guy from when Kamara went. He's the other one. But from the point Kamara went, I was like, is one of Kamara or Saquon going to make it back to us? That would be weird.
Yeah.
I guess I'll get back to the rookie stuff once we pick, but I don't know what about Kamara falling there? That's like crazy value too.
Yeah.
Is that because he got arrested?
I'd rather have Barkley over Kamara though, I think, as far as just all the uncertainty with his stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, but both are probably nice value picks here. Just buy the dip on those guys. I mean,
well, yeah. Yeah, Jeremy says nothing like a running back that can't make it through a season. See, I think that's the other projection thing, right? Like he's going to get projected for a full season, or maybe they'll project 15 games or whatever. But the projections are going to like Saquon. It's going to be hard not to like Saquon once you factor in,
Kamara's got the off-field thing Sam brings up.
Yeah.
I didn't even
that's
look
the
into
Kamara
that very
thing.
much. Yeah.
And I mean, isn't everyone excited about the new OC in New York and maybe some kind
of course.
Fundamental shift to how that offense runs?
Yeah, I mean, my thing is like any running back can not make it through a season. I mean, you don't want to obviously like the biggest predictor of injury, or not. Maybe this is obvious, but I think a lot of people have shown this is past injury. So like you don't want to be necessarily investing in running backs that have significant injury histories, but when they're elite talents, like you're taking on risk with every running back pick, and at a certain point, it becomes a value proposition relative to what that guy's upside is when he's being pushed down more, and there's some type of certainty applied to the guys that haven't been getting hurt when they're also injury risks. Like the gap isn't that wide; they're all injury risks. Like that's what we always talk about. Running backs are just risky to draft. Period.
We're back on the clock. We're definitely in a wide receiver heavy room. Top running backs on the board at the top of the queue: J.K. Dobbins, Aaron Jones, Eli Mitchell, Montgomery, Zeke, Jacobs. I have to scroll all the way down to Godwin, Amari, Amon-Ra, Robert Woods.
I've been hammering Aaron Jones in the 4th round.
I mean, I have 2 on underdog. We also just have to think the way this room is going too, that we could be in trouble a little bit with the wide receiver avalanche, but I don't mind taking Aaron Jones.
Oh, the challenge is to take Calvin Ridley. I'd go that way too. I like Aaron Jones too, but Ridley's a pretty nice swing. We don't know if he's going to play, but
yeah, that is true. I mean, Ridley is going in this range on underdog. It basically comes down to if we worried we're going to get shut out of more elite.
I think we chance it. It's FFPC.
You want to take Jones?
Yeah, let's do Jones.
All right. Look at this. Piss boys are dead.
I think with Ridley, like, how much of a discount are we getting on him to, he's going to be likely changing teams. Like, let's just say we know for a fact he's playing the full season. We're not worried about that. But I don't know. I mean, like, where would he go if he had just kind of finished out the season he was having? Wouldn't he be in like the late 3rd? He wasn't having a good season.
Yeah.
Like barely. He played 5 games, right?
Yeah. He wasn't having, it wasn't that great. I mean, Hopkins, McLaurin, like those guys, I think are sort of like decent comps to what he might have been had he not skipped the rest of the season.
Yeah. Will it just get used to it, guys? 2022, it's a different year.
I mean,
we're value-based drafters now. We'd rather have 15 points for 17 weeks compared to 25 points for 10 weeks. That's just who we are now.
That's just who we are, dude. Deal with it.
Oh man.
Let me say on the rookies before we.
Get on the rookies. Yeah.
I'll just the running back class has some interesting names, but like it's so tough to know for sure if it's any good because there's really only 2 guys that can count on draft position, and it's like I was excited about like Ramondre Stevenson before the draft, and obviously he kind of came back from not great draft position, but Kenny Gainwell didn't, so there's guys I like Kyron Williams, but I don't know if he's gonna have much draft position. So basically it's just not a good running back class. Even the top guys just aren't that good. But the wide receiver class is good. It's not like off the charts good, but it's good. And potentially it's like really good if we get Treylon Burks going in like the mid 1st round. Drake London's expected to go in the early 1st round, early to mid. Garrett Wilson from Ohio State's going to go. He's probably the first wide receiver off the board. There's a guy, Jameson Williams from Alabama, who tore his ACL, but I think would have been probably early to mid 1st round pick had he not. Probably still a 2nd round pick. Deep threat, just really exciting wide receiver as well. So there's those 4 guys. Sky Moore, actually, if he gets draft position, is going to be really interesting.
Say no more.
But then behind those 4 guys, not including Sky Moore, But behind those 4 guys, there's like a big group of guys who look like really strong, or at least, definitely worthy of second-round rookie picks. And there's like a big handful of them. There's probably like 7 or 8 guys that are like second-round rookie pick worthy. So the wide receiver class is really going to drive the value of this class overall. And then the quarterbacks are like, it doesn't seem all that excited about any of them. But I think that just because there's so many quarterback needy teams, that some of these guys, probably like 2 or 3 of them, are going to go in the first round. And then, we're going to talk ourselves into them. And, so for super flex drafts, I actually think that maybe the class is a little underrated in the sense that like, we're just not good at predicting which of these quarterbacks are going to be good. We got so excited about last year's rookie class, and it looks like maybe a historic rug pull at the quarterback position. So I just don't know if we should factor that in all that much. Like, we're going to get if we get 3 first-round picks at the quarterback position, potentially, one guy in the top 10, maybe, we'll see. But I think we should probably value those guys pretty highly in Superflex, particularly because if one of them's Howell, he's got rushing ability. If one of them's Malik Willis, he's like project, but he's definitely got rushing ability. There's not like statues.
Yeah. And that makes sense too. I was thinking about, I was setting up one of my dynasty leagues, and I have a late first round pick, which is generally a pretty nice sweet spot too, because you're generally at the like QB3, QB4, QB5 range there, which is where historically the Josh Allen, the Justin Herbert, these guys that were not good at predicting will often end up falling. Even last year it was Zach Wilson. Jury's still out on him, but you can get some really nice prospects in that range.
For sure. Yeah.
We got rookie takes in the chat. Chris says Daniel Jeremiah mocked Burks to the Bills today. Holy cow. I mean, if the Bills are still stockpiling wide receiver talent, we are not ready.
He would be awesome. He'd be awesome on the Bills because he played in the slot in college, but he's potentially like an AJ Brown, like big outside wide receiver type. Great after the catch. He could be like, he could move inside, and then Diggs could move inside and he could move outside. Could be so fun, man.
There was the Josh Allen, Christian Kirk at a dinner or something, right?
Oh, yeah. They were double dating like on vacation or something. Yeah.
Well, that'd be fun too.
Is Christian Kirk a free agent?
Yes, he is. Yeah.
Okay. Man.
And he wants out of the horizontal rate. I mean, give me a break.
Yeah, I mean, could the Cardinals draft someone? I mean, they're in need of another big time playmaker there.
Yeah, let's hope not.
Why?
Just their wide receiver development ability is clearly just garbage.
I mean, can we just leave a small candle on for Rondell Moore before you say that?
Well, look, I mean, he might be able to overcome it, but they certainly didn't help him out much. They're playing what's the guy's name? I can't remember. I was calling him Sherfield today on the other podcast. Antoine Wesley.
Yeah. He was in my first NFL all day pack. I take back what I said about them needing more wide receiver talent.
Oh, I got Notch and Doolin, so
you bumping the bag, the Antoine Wesley bag speed.
Yeah, exactly. I'm ready to dump my $7 comment moment on you after pumping
$7. You better, yeah, you wish. That's a straight dollar, and you're not selling it.
Let's see here. Erica, you say pick 2 is killing you guys. Erica, are you by any chance pick 2?
Might be pick 2. I'm gonna guess that she's pick 2.
All right, we are almost up here. I'll read off some of the names at the top of the queue. Eli Mitchell, David Montgomery, Zeke Jacobs, Chris Godwin, Fournette, Robert Woods, Breece Hall, CH, Michael Thomas, Brandon Cooks. If we want to, if we're really reaching here, where you could get into the Kadarius Toney, Brandon Ayuk type tier. What are we feeling here?
I want to go Traylon Burks after I heard that he might play for the Bills.
I don't know. I'm kind of torn. Where are you guys at on Michael Thomas?
I mean, he's just a guy that I've kind of mentally moved on from, but that's probably a leak in my game.
There's definitely room. They do their top receivers last year were horrible in targets per run and all that stuff. It's part of the reason Deontay Harris popped so much. Someone was asking, John, I think, was asking a couple weeks ago when we were talking about my targets per run article. Like, I came to the conclusion Deontay popped because they have no one else good. We're almost out of time though, but like I think there's room for Thomas to bounce back. They got to add receivers that are actually good. I honestly think Burks should go here, right?
I'm down to take him on the wrap.
Okay.
Yeah, I think. All right. Well, we're taking Thomas because that's the only name that has been thrown out here.
I did a long targets per hour spiel, so I certainly can't blame you guys for us landing on Thomas. I think that's on me.
Yeah, I haven't been drafting much Thomas, but like the news has been pretty, concrete that he's going to be back in New Orleans, and he's going to be healthy. I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't read a lot about him.
Every quarterback he played with, his targets per run was filthy. Like if this dude's healthy and back on the field, he's only shown us when on the field that he can earn targets at an incredibly high rate. I'm not thrilled that he wouldn't be playing with Breeze. I'm not particularly concerned. Like they're gonna have stats. I know the Saints look like a passing game right now where we don't know anything. They don't have any receivers. They don't have a quarterback. They don't know anything. But like they're gonna have stats this year. If he's there, if he's playing, he's gonna see a ton of targets. There's no competition whatsoever. There's nobody on that team.
And he was what? I think he was in the third round before the ankle injury setback last year. So, with Jameis Winston as the quarterback, not even sure if it's going to be Winston or Taysom Hill at the time. So you're getting a discount, it's like a 2-round discount, which you should get, but I don't know. He starts to get interesting to me here. Now there goes Burks.
Oh,
I got to say,
I just realized who Erica is. Erica is a guy that I've blocked on the show, and now I believe is probably on his wife or girlfriend's YouTube account.
Oh, that's
so Erica,
so funny.
You have a short leash tonight, Erica. You tried to disparage Crack Rock's good name in the chat once more, and you will have to find one of your child's YouTube burner accounts to comment.
Well, don't scroll down because he's already done it.
All right, bye, Erica. You had a good run.
It's true though. Double done.
Find another Twitter account. YouTube account.
No,
I'll be was the last comment.
Yeah.
Let him back.
Yeah. It's too late. I have to go deep into the settings. I know he has more accounts. Let's see here. Treylon Burks was never going to make it back once we referenced him.
Once we talked about the Bills.
Yeah. I also
look at that Bill stack. Treylon, Gabe Davis, Diggs, and Allen. Word up, looking good.
I would put a vote out for Kadarius Toney here.
I'm down for Kadarius Toney. I also I know it's really gross, but like Ezekiel Elliott in the 6th round, and then we can like take one more running back.
We already have 2 running backs.
I know, but it's basically now it's a hyper fragile build, and we're
I'm letting you got the Michael Thomas, you got the
All right.
I'm drafting Kadarius Toney. Someone has to put their foot down and get this shit back straightened out.
You got to
Zeke in the 6th is actually pretty good.
Pat had to do a draft where they forced him to draft running backs, and it's broken. It was like Clockwork Orange.
No, that's the funny thing.
His eyes open, and all he can see is Zeke. It's all he can see.
The funny thing about these drafts is like, I took Zeke in an underdog draft, a couple days ago. I'm only doing a couple of these slow drafts so far, but I don't know. At a certain point, it's like,
I understand Zeke in this, like the chat saying it too. Zeke in the 6 is insane. Agreed. So was Saquon in the late 3rd. So, Aaron Jones in the 4th, not terrible. Like, this is a wide receiver heavy draft that we're in. Every running back value, not every, but a lot of them have been very good values. We already took 2.
The reason I like Zeke is that then you're done, or not you're done, but then you're closer to being done. We're only taking 4 for sure if we get Zeke. So it just like buys us another wide receiver roster spot.
But the thing is what I was realizing pretty quickly is this is like 2021 ship chasing underdog draft room. And we're going to be at the point where every single round, the running back looks like the best value. And so that was the only, you got to bite the bullet and take the wide receiver soon. Otherwise, there's just going to be no more left.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good call.
The other thing, they're definitely a quarterback tier break after these 6 are off the board. Or do you guys disagree? Do you think, where do you put Dak? Do you put Dak in the Burrow Kyler tier, or do you have him a shade below with like the Stafford, Lance, Rodgers, Hurts?
I have him in the better tier.
Okay. So you think Dak's a pretty good value here then, like a full round after these other guys?
I'll agree with Sam real quick on his take here that Jacobs should be over Zeke. And he says a lot more. I mean, I would take Jacobs before Zeke pretty comfortably. He's a great value in the 6th. Dude, he caught new coaching staff and everything, but he caught the 3rd most balls in the league this year for running backs, 4th, 5th. 5th.
I got on board with Jacobs at the end of the best ball season last year, and I think that it's like the first round draft capital kind of having its last real impact, where he's gonna have the job, but he could so easily be in a committee this year and a new coaching staff. I think it's kind of like with Zeke, you get to the point where they're going to give him a big workload. Are
you sure?
Obviously, I hated these arguments when he was the 104, but I think in the 6th round, he'll have a big enough workload. He's not going to get phased out or totally put in a committee, because they didn't even use Tony Pollard much in the playoffs. I don't know, man. Their usage of the running backs doesn't really make sense. It's not what I would do, but.
Well, they use Pollard a lot more this year. They are definitely on the hook for Zeke next year, and they know that, and they couldn't. Maybe they're telling themselves a story they could try to move him in the offseason or something. They couldn't not treat him like he was a workhorse. Next year's the year where they could, there's still a lot of dead money, I think, but they could get out of the contract after that season. So you could see sort of progressing through next year a thing where they actually do what everyone wanted this year, where they're we're going to start to just play the better running back. If he's not good again, he could be better. He had a knee injury. Who knows? But I feel like last year was the year where because they were so tied to him for 2022, kind of impossible to ever turn the page to Pollard. This coming season feels like one where I actually think he's not guaranteed the big workload. It might be the season where the page gets turned a little bit, and they're like, look, we've done this for 2 years now. You're not good anymore. If he's not
I don't want to. My position is not he's guaranteed anything, but it's just I think he's got a pretty strong shot at a big workload, and therefore, he's not your typical dead zone running back, at least in the late part of the dead zone. If he was going in the 3rd, 4th turn, I wouldn't be into it. But this was the 6th round, and I think I got him in the 5th on Underdog. Let me check where I got him.
I think you're right on Jacobs potentially being in a committee too, for the record. I was just kind of saying I think they both have that sort of similar risk. I think they're both good values in the 6th. Breece Hall just went in the 6th.
They're both pretty good value. I'm not into Jacobs, but
I will say now, these running backs will be going much higher in other drafts and where their ADP will settle. Enjoy the value tonight, because I don't think this is going to be representative of FFPC ADP.
Pat, I didn't notice Breece Hall hadn't gone yet. It wasn't on top of it. Where are you at on Breece Hall versus Zeke?
Well, that's a good question. I'd probably still Zeke, because you could see Breece, David Montgomery, basically no one wanted to touch him after his rookie year. You got the potential for, he's not an overwhelmingly good prospect. He's the type of guy who could have a bad rookie season. He's the type of guy who could also get drafted in the 3rd round. He's not necessarily locked into an early 2nd round type of pick. I think Travis was saying that he could go around pick 40 or something. So, I think if you're out on Zeke's talent and stuff, then it's totally defensible to take Hall. But I don't think it's a no-brainer.
Just because he's a rookie, take him. He's going to go higher later. You don't think it's that clear?
I think he'll probably be a little higher, but remember when Cam Akers went in the 5th, and I think DeAndre Swift was going in the 5th. I could pretty easily see him in that late 5th grouping that those guys were in, or Miles Sanders was going in the 5th. It doesn't strike me as a guy who's going to go, in the 3rd round or something.
Yeah.
So we've
What
only
are
had 3 receivers since we picked last. Is it finally a spot where we have a little receiver value, Pete?
Yeah. So as far as what's available, and I'll read a bunch of names just because the ADPs might, drop some rookies we might be interested in more than normal. So Adam Thielen, Mike Williams, the aforementioned Rondell Moore, Jerry Jeudy, Chase Claypool, A-Rob, Beckham, Cortland Sutton, Drake London, Juju, Garrett Wilson, Tyler Boyd, Julio Jones. Bateman is also down there.
I guess, is there anyone that you guys like a lot here, and then maybe we could grab one of those guys in the 8th?
I don't want to say the name that I like.
Yeah, you can put it in the chat. And just to let you know, structurally too, if we just want to be thinking about quarterback, obviously we don't have any quarterbacks in this window that we would be completing stacks with, but Rodgers, Hurts. I also don't think it would be a bad thing to get an elite upside quarterback in this range too.
Is there an elite upside quarterback?
I think Rodgers and Hurts, I think qualify.
Yeah. Gretchen,
kind of like what we just talked about.
Different plan in the private chat.
Yeah. Yeah, I do think we need to be a little more. I don't, and Sean has talked about this a lot too, about making sure you're getting a quarterback at these quarterbacks in the quarterback window. I don't necessarily just want to punt it off either, which we will be if we go with that plan.
Okay,
but didn't
we
miss the tier break here?
What's that?
We got Aaron Jones. Maybe we could do Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
Denver Bronco Aaron Rodgers.
Let's do that because I think the wide receivers you guys are mentioning will be there.
We'll have our choice of one of them. We won't get both.
Yeah. Jeremy wants to know how Murph's doing after snip chasing.
He's doing really good. We got this thing. It's called a pseudocode. He wears it, so then he doesn't have to wear the cone of shame. It buttons up. But Brittany, as I was getting ready, she let him out, and you're supposed to take the back off, and then it buttons up. It's like a onesie, but it's you can take the back and button it to the front, so then he can pee. But she forgot to do that, so he peed all over it.
Oh no!
So we had to wash it last minute right before the podcast. What's going on with my camera?
Wouldn't be a ship chasing show without a Pat Gray and technical difficulty.
He had to start by saying he didn't have any this week, and then he had some. It came up later.
Pat, I just want to show you how it's done, Pat. I'm making simultaneous Omni fantasy picks in 2 leagues right now while hosting and drafting. Okay, it is possible.
That is beautiful.
Just took the Brooklyn Nets at 109. I don't know. I didn't want to take the F1 guy. I'm kind of on Team Rich.
The Nets are super interesting because they have really good odds to win the title, but they're in 8th in the East right now.
I almost took them over Georgia just because I kind of wanted to root for him, but
yeah, Pat, you're a fake Brooklyn bro, not taking the Brooklyn Nets.
Clearly.
Let's see here. So we are up next. We have, after our Rodgers pick, Thielen, Drake London, who we had discussed in the chat, Mike Williams, Singletary, Jalen Hurts go. And we shall see what Dart Throws does here. Dart Throws, Dalvin Cook, Mark Andrews, DeAndre Hopkins, Cam Akers, Chris Godwin, Hunter Renfrow, Adam Thielen. The one thing, I feel like these minute clocks are just too long. Even when we're kind of dragging our feet, I think we could speed it up a bit.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know about 30 seconds though. What would you put it at? 45?
I mean, I like the 30-second, but
who went?
Noah Fant. So you guys want Garrett Wilson?
Yeah, let's get Garrett Wilson.
Okay. Yeah, we were drafting AARP team here for a sec.
I wanted London Wilson, just really infuse some youth, but I like the Rodgers pick. I think that's sharp. It's one of those things like way different scale, but Stafford was way undervalued at this time last year because people thought he wasn't going to be with the Lions, but like it was clear he was going to start somewhere, and he was going like QB 20 for a while. And it's sort of the same thing where like Aaron Rodgers was really good. If he stays in Green Bay, it's a good thing. If he leaves Green Bay, he's going to pick his spot, and he's going to go somewhere that has good receivers, and he's going to put up numbers, dude. Like, he's going to be good. He's not going to go somewhere and be bad.
Yeah.
He could retire, I guess, is the one risk. But I feel like he's a value in most outcomes that are non-retirement outcomes. So I think that was a sharp pick by you guys.
Yeah. I like those picks by Team 7 there, back-to-back, Judy and Claypool. Those seem, in a wide receiver heavy draft room, seem pretty nice there.
Claypool is just such a value. Just such a value.
Yeah. What I am glad that we grabbed Rodgers there. Because I think we're going to see even maybe at least one more go by the time it gets back to us. And now we still have kind of the option if we want to get Tannehill for the stack, if we want to get Daniel Jones late, we want to take a rookie quarterback stab, pair him up with Michael Thomas. That's what I was trying to do on Splash Play last week, was trying to figure out which quarterback was going to go to the Steelers to complete some Steelers stacks. That's the most joy I have right now, is trying to absolutely nail the quarterback stack in advance of the draft.
I mean, that's going to feel good if you pull it off.
I know. I even named the team on Underdog that, like, Pete calls his Pittsburgh QB shot. It was because I was quickly Googling for who was most likely to be the Steelers quarterback. And apparently the Steelers front office has been making trips down to North Carolina to scout Sam Howell. Apparently they really like him. So connecting some of the dots there. Getting real.
Howell sounds good from what I've heard so far. He sounds like a pretty interesting fantasy quarterback.
Yeah, no, we don't talk about Mason Rudolph.
We're not dealing with this season of Mason Rudolph. We just can't. Yes, Sam had a comment about Garrett Wilson and Kadarius Toney being comped. I don't know. I haven't heard
that's
that,
interesting. Hopefully, just the on-field portion of Garrett Wilson comp to Kadarius Toney.
Right. Also, he actually produced as an underclassman and did so repeatedly.
Kadarius Toney broke my models.
He is a lot of people have him as the number one wide receiver in the class. So I do think that, getting him in the 8th where did Treylon Burks go? In the 5th? I mean, we just don't know yet. Treylon Burks might be a 2nd-round pick in the NFL, and Garrett Wilson might go like top 10. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if Garrett Wilson goes top 10, I mean, at this point in the draft is a smash.
He has that. I don't know that people would project him to do that, but he is expected to go in the 1st round. Like, I don't think anyone thinks he'll drop out of the 1st round. So he certainly has the upside to be like, maybe the 10th overall pick.
Sam clarifying it was on the Ringer pod with Danny Kelly.
Interesting.
I will also recommend, I pulled this up on Splash Play the other day. The Ringer mock draft website /guide is super sick. The way that they let you kind of filter for certain things, you can get like a long form version. You can get a super short one. You can sort really quickly by just skill position players. If you want to get the defensive guys out of there, it's a really nice, fun mock draft tool.
I liked Nez's comment. He said he's a Steeler fan. He'll become a full Sonic boy if it's Rudolph.
Wow. Hey, I'll see you in the Sonic Nez.
Sonic boy.
So what are we looking at? Do we got any quarterbacks that we can take? I think we're just relying on Rodgers. Running backs, receivers, tight ends. Those are the positions, right?
Those are the positions. So I'll read you. So top of the board, quarterback, Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence, Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr, Ryan Tannehill. Top of the board, running back, CEH, Kareem Hunt, Damian Harris, Rashad Penny, Kenneth Walker III, Miles Sanders. Wide receiver, Rondell Moore, Beckham, Sutton, Juju, Tyler Boyd, Julio, Jones, Gallup. Tight end, Hunter Henry, Cole Kmet, Irv Smith, Higbee, Trey McBride.
I didn't like those QBs or tight ends.
Yeah. I didn't either. I was keeping an eye on Bateman there, but Mojo just won't stop shutting up about how much he loves Rashad Bateman, so he takes him there. I would definitely be on board with a Juju pick coming up. I also don't mind.
Will you read that list again? Receivers?
Yeah, and I'm just reading this based on how they are in the draft applet. There is no editorializing by the way I read these. Rondell Moore, Odell Beckham, Cortland Sutton, Juju, Julio Jones, Marvin Jones, Gallup, Galladay, Chris Olave, Laviska.
I think I like Sutton.
What about, there are some running backs here that I think are pretty interesting for where we are in the draft.
Yeah, we could go running back.
Kareem Hunt, Damian Harris, Rashad Penny. I mean, CEH is here too, but I'm less interested in him.
Yeah.
Where are you guys at on Penny?
I think he's pretty fun.
Yeah, he's good at football.
He's really good at football. I mean, he's got to have, I don't know what kind of workload you can project for him, but he certainly earned it.
Yeah.
Kind of the opposite of the Zeke pick.
He just goes, you jinxed it here.
Damian Harris is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
In the 9th round.
Yeah.
I kind of like the Sutton pick. And, I just talked about trying to nail, we get Rodgers to Denver.
Yeah.
All of a sudden.
Now we got Sutton and AJ Brown. We got both of these, potentially elite. Because one of the things I like about Sutton is Judy hasn't been bad, but he hasn't been good. And Judy did kind of crush his target share, but some of that could have been quarterback play. I mean, it's possible that Sutton's their alpha next year.
Right. Now 2 years off the injury.
Yeah.
All right. I think we recovered. The Piss Boys took a little 2-round detour in the running back dead zone. And now we're back.
Sutton, we've seen stuff that I feel like he's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty comfortably feel
JW with an interesting question. He says Ramondre or Damien for 2022. Feel like Ramondre could jump him straight up. I want that to be the thing. I feel it in my body that it's going to be a thing. And yet I still want to protect myself against Tony Pollard over exuberance here.
Yeah, I think the thing that's tough for Ramondre is that Damian Harris was really good last year, especially in terms of breakaway runs. And he definitely played behind Harris even when he was playing really well. So
okay, but
both of them are good. Both of them are good.
I agree with that, but the what do you get when you win thing, or what do you win when you're right thing? Ramondre, I always go back to how much you were pushing him, Pat, and you were early on this for all of us. I took him in the 5th round of some rookie draft, 4th round, whatever. I got him in a ton of dynasty. I love that I have so much Ramondre. It's completely because of you. You were loving his yards per out run. His targets per out run, when I looked at the stuff, and I assume his yards per out run followed, was a lot higher than any of the other running backs on New England. I think he's just really good.
He is really
whatever
good.
Getting open. Why I always think it's interesting when a running back, because I think running back targets are largely dictated by team scheme, quarterback, those elements. But when he's much better than the other guys running routes in his offense, it stands out to me, especially when you were pointing out he had such a good yards per run as a prospect.
Yeah.
This dude might just be a really good pass catching back with size. And that's what we want. That's the David Johnson. That's the everything, right? If Damian Harris goes down or something, that's a dude that can consolidate high value touches, right? All the stuff that we want. His upside's got to be higher than Damian Harris's because of what he can do as a receiver.
Yeah, you're right. His upside's higher. I think Damian Harris has a better chance of having paying off his ADP, but you're right, his upside's higher.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna be
Chubb
on
Hunt with Harris Ramondre. That's a good comp.
Yeah, I mean,
Ramondre as Hunt is a pick I want to make. I'm also fine with Harris at this point.
Let's take Ramondre.
Do we just talk ourselves into
It's in the 10th round.
Let's just do Ramondre in the 10th. I'm totally down.
I tried to be rational. I love Ramondre Stevenson. I've been telling this guy since he fucking declared for the league. Let's go.
There it is. Yeah, I mean, I was going to float what Sam was saying if we didn't take Ramondre CH still there in the 10th. I mean, really, if we do that, we're on just the total buy low squad. I mean, that's the theme of this team really right now.
Which I think is a lot of risk. Some of these dudes are not going to come, not going to bounce back. You can make those picks. I don't like stacking those picks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You kind of doom your team because you're stacking risk.
Also, I don't think CEH is very good. Like, I think he's like below replacement level.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with that.
It's a tough because I agree with Sam just on price. I mean, there isn't a ton of risk there, but I would just rather have McKinnon, which is what Cobra just mentioned here in the chat. And I have been taking a ton of McKinnon late.
Yeah, I'd be fine with CH in the 10th, but probably not on a team where I took Saquon and Michael Thomas.
Right. You know? More of a zero RB build.
And Sutton.
Yeah.
And Sutton.
Yeah.
Eric's saying like the Harris TD share. I mean, I do think that Chubb Hunt is a good comp combo. On how much running we could see from the pass. I mean, they could create their entire offense around these two guys, especially if they can't get a wide receiver talent in there, which who's to say they will. Like these two guys could be the engine for the offense.
There's a world where N'Keal Harry's just ripping it up on the Titans and AJ Brown's a bust. I'm telling you.
Oh my God. I don't want to live in that
Patriots. The Patriots just ruin wide receivers.
Would you say in this world, N'Keal Harry is doing like Dolce and Gabbana, sunglass ads too?
Ben's just tweeting about him constantly. We're all embarrassed about our AJ Brown shirt.
Ben is physically ill just thinking
about it so much. He doesn't like this bit at all.
No, not a good bit. Not a good bit.
It's a pretty
Eject
good bit.
From the bit.
I
won't. I'll never stand down from the bit. Let's see here. Structurally, Team 6 takes their second QB, Deshaun Watson, to pair with Burrow. The only other, a couple other 2 QB teams. We have a Mahomes Stafford team, 4th and 6th round, and we have a Lance and Russell Wilson team, 7th and 9th round. Our backside of the draft is raw dogging it with 1 QB, and Team 8, Maddie, has yet to take a QB, as has Team 10. So I do think we should probably be considering another quarterback in that range, just knowing a couple of those will probably go.
Who do you like?
Well, Tannehill.
I love that.
With AJB.
Okay. Yeah, I'm good with that.
I love the targeted QB. I also love the Tannehill call, independent of each other. But yeah, those are good calls.
Problem is we set it far too early.
Who's sniping us on Tannehill?
These guys are sickos.
Who are the other quarterbacks that we also want? So we can really drum up interest in the depth of the quarterback position.
I mean, Doug Peterson is just the perfect hire for Trevor Lawrence. I honestly can't think of a single other coach they could have hired. No one that played quarterback for them previously that is like a much better offensive mind. No one comes to mind. So Trevor Lawrence got to draft him.
Oh, is G in our draft?
Yeah. So Chris G and Nez are co-managing a team. What? Let me figure out what spot are you guys right now?
They are leaning Tannehill right now. They said,
"Get out of here, Chris." This is why. I mean, streamers don't know.
I love that they let everyone know what spot am I leaving Tannehill. Do you want us to beg and plead that you don't take him?
Please don't take Ryan Tannehill. I think we'll be fine if we don't get Ryan Tannehill.
All right, so
enjoy it. Your team 5. You guys have 3 receivers.
Yeah, you guys are done if you don't take another wide receiver.
Please.
You guys are paying the rake if you take Ryan Tannehill.
We will happily take your money.
Let's be honest, you're paying the rake either way.
I can't keep up with all your guys' team names. Even if I go to the owner's page, I don't recognize the name. So unless you announce yourself and what your team name is, fuck if I know. I did. I mean, that's the best comment. Team 2 from his wife's account saying Team 2 is whooping you guys.
And he's only taking 2 running receivers.
While talking shit about Crack Rock, yet still using his namesake for a little bit of clout chasing. I mean, what a twisted individual. All right, Jeremy's Fozzie dog. Okay.
You took Van. Why would you say that right after you took Van Jefferson? I'm sorry, Jeremy. I'm sorry for you.
Ben, do you feel sniped on Van?
I don't. I'm very comfortable with. I mean, the only good thing that came out of my Van Jefferson experience in 2021 is that he's going to go in the 11th round in all these drafts, and I don't have to take him anywhere.
But the burden you have to live with is you created a villain out of this man who endeared himself to the nation.
Guy is
playing in a Super Bowl, going to the hospital.
Hardest dude to hate. Like, seems like just an incredible person.
Yeah.
Every time I see something about Van Jefferson, I'm like, this sucks. Why is this the guy that I'm like
arbitrarily
Ben, anti because I saw something in my spreadsheets that said that I didn't like it?
Let me just a little advice here from someone who had a similar experience when Playoff Lenny became the nation's heartthrob. You do have an opportunity here that I did not take, but I actually do wish I took. Right, because Van Jefferson wasn't someone that you needed to have selected last year. Whatever. So if you fade him and then he doesn't do well, and then you jump on and he does well. I mean, if Van Jefferson blows up this year and you switch horses and get on Van Jefferson, now you know how likable he is. It's going to be a fun 2022 for you.
It would be fun.
That's where this is what happens, Gretch, is you just kind of quietly are accumulating. You're packing your Van Jefferson bags throughout the offseason. Van Jefferson starts crushing. Everyone's in your mentions, being like, oh, Gretch,
I'm
you
like,
big idiot.
yeah, I got him too.
I'm well aware, bros.
And then Gretch goes,
look at this Van Jefferson exposure.
The prestige, and then it's a screenshot of 56% Van
I was the one
Jefferson.
driving up his ADP.
They went Julio on an auto pick. We successfully talked them off of Ryan Tannehill. Yes, we did it. We did it,
guys.
They were afraid of the sauce. They needed another receiver.
All right, we've never been so excited.
We're on the clock.
That's how it's done. That's the influencer bump right there.
I think we just
Ryan
take
Tannehill in the 11th round.
Yeah, let's just take Tannehill. Yeah.
When you're this persuasive on your show.
Yeah, so now definitely feeling like structurally, I feel pretty good about where we're at in this draft.
QB went right behind it, just as Pete called.
Yeah, dart throws needed a QB there.
We might see a couple more before we get back up, but we're looking at all the non-quarterback positions.
Yeah. So just to give you a tight end check, I mean, it's definitely starting to get gross.
It's done.
Trey McBride, Gerald Everett, Arnold, CJ, Uzoma, Ingram, Gronk, Tunyon, Brevin Jordan. I mean, it's getting
Jacoby Myers. I forgot.
How could you forget about you? You love Jacoby Myers.
Gretch. 7th round pick in the 11th round. Just free money.
Why did you say that in the 10th round?
He is a 7th round pick. I'm not even kidding.
Some
there's
guys
a couple wide receivers here that are pretty nice, actually.
Yeah, we've been drafting a man whose name rhymes with Marvish Landry around this range.
Well, there's a couple guys. Let me throw them in the private chat.
No, just say what they rhyme like. No one will be able to pick it up.
Schmilliam Wooler.
Way to be just
you added
about
the yum.
Yeah.
No one knew when you added the yum at the end of the first name.
So we do have Gallup, Cargo, and we're on the clock.
Christian work.
I was gonna say Christian Kirk. Where are you, Gretch, on Kirk, Landry, Fuller?
And I'd throw Corey Davis in there.
Corey Davis.
I mean, I think I'm on Landry, but I'm fine with any of those guys. All four of those guys I'd be fine with here.
I think Fuller's the best of them, and his finger's gonna be repaired, and he'll probably be on a new team, right? So he would be my vote.
Why is Pat's face just a smiley, like Joker face right now?
This is just how I feel. I am happy.
That Joker face.
The only thing I'll say about Fuller is just in the queue and in the FFPC ADP, he's significantly further down than those other guys.
I know, but these sickos are never going to let us go him in the 13th round.
I mean, it would. Now this takes me right back to August of last year, just drafting Will Fuller in every single draft.
I still feel like it was a good move. It was like one of those ones where I'm just like, and there's another universe where he was a great pick, because there was actually wide receiver value on that team. We're supposed to know he's going to shatter his finger. Literally shattered his finger.
Yeah, Corey is very scarred from the Will Fuller experience, and I get it. I
think there's a little more risk with him where we don't necessarily know, like, where he winds up, what happens this offseason. Because it's possible he just doesn't generate a lot of interest. The finger thing is, something that we can point to, but maybe
what if he lands on the Bills?
Yeah, then I'm freaking taking my pants off.
Yeah.
Hey, Doug, have you ever heard about a 2-leg parlay? This is what we like to hear. Ultimate risk reward. We bet it all on Tony. We win. We let it ride on William Schmilliam Fuller.
I love that we took both Barkley and Tony, by the way. We should be digging.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
I think we could potentially still go with a QB3 build if Daniel Jones is cheap.
Yeah, it makes some sense. Although they might just replace him. I wish I knew who said this.
Do you think that's a possibility?
Somebody made a comment that like maybe they would go out and get like a Mariota, and then Mariota winds up beating out Jones. And I was
Trubisky is the guy.
That's what
people are
tossing around. Trubisky. That's what I want to see. Is like,
isn't Trubisky poor man's Daniel Jones?
Yeah, but
I think he's like, poor man's Josh Allen maybe, and not poor man's Daniel Jones. I don't know.
Somebody who has the potential to play at a solid level. I don't even remember who their backup was last year, but somebody who can push Daniel Jones if he plays really poorly, and they can then move him in. Like get two QBs in there.
Mike Glennon and Jake Fromm were the backups last year. It was a disaster.
Yeah. So somebody who is not those two.
It was
just anyone. Yeah. Trubisky and Mariota are like perfect examples of what I would do if they could, make it work or whatever, acquire these guys. But got some mobility. You love a backup that could just come in, maybe at least add some mobility and stuff. Mariota seems like he should be ready for another starting. I want to see that dude start again.
Yeah.
It'd be fun.
Eric says there's been some Coleman or Mariota to San Francisco talk. I mean, come on. I mean, can you imagine if Shanahan brought in Mariota to start him over Trey Lance?
Well, Mariota's been sitting behind Derek Carr. I actually think, although it might create a firestorm, it wouldn't be the worst move to bring in Mariota if you intend to use him as a backup. Because he'd be a similar player, be a similar type of player.
Yeah, sure. I just don't like it for Mariota.
Yeah, I wouldn't go there if I was Mariota.
He needs to go.
I think all the quarterbacks should just be angling to go to the New York Giants.
Yeah,
there's probably got to be like 14 quarterbacks who are like,
I mean, quarterback. The Panthers, like Mariota and Trubisky and those dudes need to, latch on there. Where like they already took Darnold's 5th-year option. They're probably not going to get anyone to take him. That's probably the best they're going to be able to do at quarterback is somebody like a Mariota to compete with Darnold this year, and they don't want Darnold, but no one's going to trade for him. This is turning into a Mr. X draft out of the number 2 spot. Erica is really driving home the I hate wide receivers theme from the number 1 spot.
Yeah, we get it. Cracks intern, you were cracks intern, ready to crank it purple here.
Yeah, look at him cranking purple. He talks all this trash on crack and then drafts exactly like him.
I mean, you want to hear a couple of words that are Ben Gretch's nightmare. Michael Pittman, your wide receiver 2 through 12 rounds.
Oh.
Yeah.
But seriously.
Casey, how about we let Mariota just play for the Raiders? I mean, they were giving him a few snaps there toward the end of the season. They were kind of teasing him a little bit. That would be fun. I would be there for that.
Derek Carr's a professional quarterback.
Yeah, he is. He's just not fun.
He's just not.
Mariota wasn't great for
but
Tennessee.
he should be starting over Marcus Mariota.
To this comment, Mariota wasn't great for Tennessee. I definitely remember that. But I mean, he had at least one good year. His sophomore year, second season, 26 TDs, 9 picks. Like, it was all red zone efficiency and everything. But like, the fantasy community was excited about him after year 2. And then he only got 2 more years to start, and he got sacked a ton, right? Like, they were just And he got hurt. He hurt his elbow that one year and played through it like the whole year. And then the next year, Tannehill like took over, and he's been okay in relief at times with the Raiders. Like, I don't know. I'm not convinced he's not good. I'll just put it that way. He wasn't good at times.
I'm not convinced he's not good either. I just think Carr isn't like good, but he's not bad.
Yeah, no, Carr's fine.
Yeah.
So what is going to be our plan at tight end? Do we think, because we are getting in the territory where we might still have to go like 3 tight ends, even
we hope that Travis Kelce gets traded after the Chiefs bye, but before another team's bye and plays every single game.
That's exactly right.
That's our strategy.
We could take the rookie, which I don't love. Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram's the play. He's a free agent, though. He's a free agent.
And also, he sucks.
No, but you know what? I was thinking about Evan Ingram today.
You were?
I honestly think you could have. I was, because I did a draft earlier. I did a draft earlier where we took him. No, but I was thinking about how like he could go to a different team in a better situation and end up kind of having the Eric Ebron tail into his career, where he was like a part-time guy, but he's like used actually as a receiver, which is probably the way he should be used.
I think there's some interesting late tight ends with the free agents, like Njoku, OJ Howard are both free agents, along with Ingram. They're that same class that we love, that none of them really did great. You also got a Kui Bunam, as we like to call him, is like good at football. Potential for him to, I mean, I don't know, just like attack talent. Harrison Bryant in Cleveland, if Njoku leaves, they're going to use 2.
What about Hooper?
Yeah,
I mean, Hooper's here.
Yeah,
I don't have to speculate.
I would say my favorite tight ends on the board. I'm still on Team Gerald Everett for who's available.
You know what we could do? No, I don't want to do this. I lied. I was gonna say Kyle Rudolph. If Ingram leaves, then he probably is their like starting tight end. He's probably starting tight end again, but he's like really old.
He's really old, and Jason Garrett's not there to use him like Jason Witten.
Yeah, I was reading. Sean just put out his best ball tight end tiers. He had done his quarterback tiers up on RotoViz, and the everyone through tier 5 is gone. His tier 6 is Irv Smith, Cole Kmet, Gronk, Logan Thomas, and Gerald Everett. Which interesting on, taking the leap of faith on Gronk. I believe Irv and Cole Kmet are already gone. We don't have to go tight end here either. But just have to keep that in our back pocket.
I think we can mess around late with some of these like free agents and stuff I was talking about, the OJ Howard.
So one guy I'll toss out here is the guy we were talking about earlier. I mean, McKinnon is still pretty interesting to me.
Yeah, I like McKinnon.
Let's do it.
Okay.
He's a good pick.
And then are we done?
At
or
RB?
Take one more. Yeah.
So this is the 20 round draft. So I think structurally we'll have like a luxury pick if we want. I guess it depends too on if we go 3 QBs, do we go 3 tight ends?
All those other receivers we talked about went. Corey Davis
know.
Almost made it back. It would have been nice to get one of those guys back.
Yeah. Just let me look at the wide receivers here.
Yeah, I mean, wide receiver is getting
Kyron Williams. I like a lot. It's a little bit. I like McKinnon over him, but he's a pretty interesting name. I think someone we could end up, taking more like the 8th or 9th round after the draft.
Dev Sleepy.
There's a couple rookie wide receivers that are interesting here.
There's one in particular.
Yeah, well, there sure is. Yeah,
there's definitely one that we should
one
take.
in particular. But all right, let's just.
Right. George Pickens just went.
Would you say don't
George
look
Pickens
now?
was one of the other guys.
Yeah, he looks really interesting too. But when he goes, that opens the floodgates even more. The skies are parting, guys.
The skies are parting.
God.
There's actually another wide receiver who's quite interesting as a rookie.
Who? David Bell?
David Bell, yeah.
That guy's name is not at all halfway as cool as Sky Moore's name. So sorry. I fell asleep hearing his name, David Bell. That I think that's the name of the freaking third baseman on my Seattle Mariners. When I was
it does sound like an MLB
when they won 116 games, we had David Bell, and he was just like the most boring.
I think David Bell an actual baseball player?
Yes, he was
he
the
played
third
for the
baseman
Indians,
for the Mariners when he
yeah.
won 116
Okay.
games. Yeah, it was like a really boring. Like I'm not even making that up. He was a really boring player. I'm pretty sure he was on that team, or maybe it was the year before or after.
Are we doing this for the brand?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
For the record, I think the people should probably be taking David Bell here and then see if you can get Sky Moore later.
Why do you think I prefaced it with "Are we doing this for the brand"?
No, we're taking Sky Moore. He won the 4th round on Underdog in one of these drafts.
That was a bit.
We got 10 rounds of value.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Roll the
we
clip,
do.
Pete.
I do need to get a Sky
You
Moore
gotta
clip.
get a clip.
Yeah.
Just running all the slants all day long.
We're gonna need to put together some tight end picks here.
I like that suggestion from JW. Draft David Bell.
That's
Full
a
highlight
good
reel
one.
of
Yeah.
smashing dingers for the
I
man.
just shared this.
That would be a really
I
fun
gotta
bit.
zoom
Can we
in.
do that?
Oh, he's the manager of the Reds right now. This is David Bell.
We should do a highlight reel of him managing the Reds.
You know what's so good about this bit is it forces us to balance our range on Sky Moore exposure. Like if they end up going around the same place in drafts, it's like we'll have 2 highlight reels, and you can try to snipe us on one, but you won't be able to snipe.
You
us
won't
on
be able to get us on both. You just. Dude, what is going on with Pro Football Reference? The ads there are so bad.
Jesus.
Pro
Fix your
Football
site.
Reference.
That was baseball reference.
Well, it's all
Yeah.
the same reference.
Oh, yeah, baseball
It's
reference.
under the reference family.
Goodness.
David Moore.
I guess
I mean,
can put
David
the
Bell.
back on.
David
I
Moore.
already forgot his name. There he goes.
There he goes.
Let the record show that was Gretsch doing the screen share. I would never put that smut up on my screen.
Davonte Parker, that's a pretty nice value on him.
Historical anomaly, talking about the McKinnon stuff. I do think the most likely thing is he resigns with the Chiefs.
I think like far and away the most likely thing, because they have value. You know, they got a lot of value out of him. They see his value, and if you're him, you're like, anyone who values you has to be where you want to be.
He would, and it's just maybe at a different position. I don't know. It's just like, who's gonna toss him such a bag, at his age? It just seems like such a natural thing to resign.
I think the bigger risk is they actually bring in someone else.
True.
Right? To
Yeah,
compete
true.
with CEH, that's like a little bit more, and then he's like the
For sure.
RB3 again.
Yeah.
Like they might bring him back, but then also bring someone else.
Also, Derek Gore's good, so don't worry about him.
He was fine.
I actually think he's good, man. I think Derek Gore is good.
He
Give
was
him a
like
chance.
in those games where the Chiefs were crushing. He produced in all of those games.
He just looks good too. I think it's like a Dearness Johnson thing where it's just.
I
like,
think it's
this
just
guy's
kind of
probably good.
it's in the genetics, I mean, in the family.
The Frank Gore, Derek Gore family.
Yeah, even though that's been debunked, I still would like to believe that
Debunked.
Frank debunked with a 3-second Wikipedia search.
It's been debunked. It took over the internet, but it's been debunked.
Well, at least Iceman bringing us our global politics news. War is imminent, but we'll always have our David Bell jokes, at least, guys. That's all that matters.
Yeah, that's a downer.
That's a big old downer.
Yup.
Yep. They invaded.
Goodness. For foreign policy chasing. I prefer snip chasing to foreign policy chasing.
I do too. What do you guys think about Terrace Marshall's chances of bouncing back?
Not good. Not good. What is how is Robbie Anderson still under contract?
Yes, he is, because he signed an extension.
Okay. Goodness. That would be Iceman. And by the way, Iceman has been killing my vibe. He left a comment about a guy killing himself on one of my YouTube videos the other day. I like you, Iceman, but you need to chill out. Can we keep it on topic?
Yeah, I don't know if you quite understand what this is, but it's kind of an escape from that.
Yeah. Well, we then I'll go and Google what's going on in the world. Just give us another 30 more minutes to finish this draft.
Yeah.
There's a couple interesting. There's a kind of some pass catching running backs left that are interesting. There's a 2-down running back who's a free agent who I think is kind of interesting here.
He just went.
Yeah, I definitely think, let's see here, based on, so tight end, my guy, Gerald Everett went, Trey McBride went, okay, so that entire tier got cleared out.
Yeah.
I feel like we might want to go 2 tight ends here at the end, just take some shots.
I'm down, because there's actually a few guys that I think are fine.
Yeah.
There's a couple guys that I like.
So to update, if you're listening to the audio version of this, our quarterbacks are Aaron Rodgers and Ryan Tannehill. We have 4 running backs right now: Aaron Jones, Saquon Barkley, Ramondre Stevenson, Jerick McKinnon. We have 7 wide receivers: Michael Thomas, Kadarius Toney, Garrett Wilson, Cortland Sutton, AJ Brown, Sky Moore, William Fuller, and tight end Travis Kelce.
You didn't say our first AJ Brown. Oh, you did say AJ Brown.
I did. I just went out of order and it threw you.
Confused.
You're like, in what world could this sick fuck mention Garrett Wilson's name before AJ Brown?
Before AJ Brown. How dare you?
You know what world? The world where the Patriots took AJ Brown.
Isaiah McKenzie got brought up. I definitely pitched him. All this talk about the Bills targeting another receiver does not have me as excited about Isaiah McKenzie, I have to say.
Yeah. Although, isn't the thesis that he's taking over the Cole Beasley role? Like, if they get a burst.
Yeah, but Kirk is a slot.
He's also a free agent, though, McKenzie. Davis was making the point that McKenzie is also good on special teams, and so it's it's possible another team throws some money at him.
Yeah.
So
that happens.
Do we have any wide receivers we want to entertain this deep? There is one running back there's actually a couple running backs that I still
there's a couple running backs. I think we gotta shore up tight end. I think we can't let ourselves get
so tight end.
Dregs.
Didn't we already kind of do that in the last round? Who would be our tight end pick?
So available tight ends, and we are on the clock: Tunyon, Jordan, Troutman, Tommy Tremble, Austin Hooper, Njoku, Johnny Smith, Donald Parham. There's a bunch of running backs that are interesting to me. Trace
I like
Sermon,
Brevin Jordan
Gus
and
Edwards.
Adam Troutman. Adam Troutman, by the way, also with the Thomas pick, we're already kind of.
Can I just say something though? Gus Edwards is extremely undervalued at this spot.
I'm down with that.
I think he's undervalued by a few. Like what has changed for Gus Edwards?
Well, you got to have him, recover successfully from the injury, I guess.
Yeah. I'm looking at the tight ends. I guess the people.
I think I'd go Hooper before. I mean, Brevin Jordan's interesting.
Who do you want?
I like Brevin Jordan.
Okay.
We can do that.
All right, we'll draft Brevin Jordan.
He's a pass catcher. He got on the field pretty quickly. They don't really have much else.
He had a really nice prospect profile, right, Pat? Like
really nice.
A lot of production.
He had a breakout season.
Yeah,
like a wide receiver breakout season as a tight end. That's pretty rare.
And then to get on the field right away, like you said, and actually produce as well, he was pretty good.
Yeah.
He could be like a legitimately solid tight end.
He's a dart throw guy. Like you want to keep the cost in check, but I like him as a dart
definitely
throw.
Fifth rounder and all that. But 3 touchdowns. His yards per target weren't great or anything, but I mean he was solid. Caught over 7% of his passes, whatever. Texans aren't going to be good, but they might not be horrible.
Yeah.
Pep Hamilton.
I think with Jordan, if we're going to do a third tight end, it makes me want a guy like Austin Hooper more, who's just like a stable.
Yeah, we could definitely do. Who were the running backs you wanted, Pete?
Well, I thought interesting names, and I view these all as similar probability bets, but Trey Sermon, Gus Edwards, Myles Gaskin, Nyheim Hines, like I think all of those guys are solid in this range.
I agree. I think those are all solid.
Yep.
I think I would go Hooper and just wait to see what comes back at running back with all that kind of.
Gus Edwards goes. Yeah, I mean, we're definitely not hurting.
Mostert feels like a good value there.
Yeah.
Mostert was a very good pick. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
but if you want to take one of those backs.
Yeah, do you have those guys are pretty even to me, but I think they're all fine here.
Or even a receiver. Do we need another receiver?
Let's do.
What about McKissick, by the way?
Yeah, McKissick's here as well. I would just say to me, like I normally like layering for best ball McKissick more in 0 RB builds or where I'm more fragile. Whereas I feel like we can like have a bigger cut here just with how anchored we are.
What about Gaskin then?
I like Gaskin. Yeah.
He's going to get replaced. He was bad this year, but in the 16th round, he's a cut. He's shown some
like a good cut, not like cut him from the team, but like take a crack. Okay.
Take a swing.
Yeah.
He's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a price worth biting at. But
this is the
like
thing,
he probably shouldn't go much higher.
Everyone
bad.
The sad truth about all these picks is they have a similar probability of hitting, and depending on the texture of your roster, what kind of points you're trying to get with the Hines or McKissick floor or the Edwards contingent value or the Sermon buy low or the Myles Gaskin holds onto his job because of some crazy inertia or something. Like there's all different flavors, but they all are similar probabilities.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it. Sermon's somewhat interesting that you'd feel like he'd get some opportunity. He was a little banged up too, and he looked vaguely okay.
Yeah,
when he actually got some touches.
Donta Foreman, another guy still available that I've been drafting on. Dog late.
Yeah.
Sermon's not fun to draft, but I mean, Damian Harris had a total 0 as a rookie and then emerged, so it'd hardly be the first time that's happened. Gaskin for the brand, please don't.
I would hope our brand hasn't been I don't know how our brand would have been associated with Gaskin. I don't think we've ever even had him on.
Is he making a layered comment?
We got him on some waiver wired, on a couple when it broke out.
Missing Gaskin the year Laird told us he was the back to own to my face on a podcast, and then I didn't draft him at all. That was rich.
Well, in your defense, I watched that podcast, watched him do that, and then also didn't draft him. So
That's how it goes.
yeah.
So yeah,
I
So
got
we're
a
gonna
receiver. That's it. That
okay.
should-
We're gonna need a wide receiver, so that works well. Okay, yeah, I like that.
He's there, right?
Yeah.
He definitely should have been gone by now.
Oh yeah, Ben. That's a beautiful call.
Yeah, Donta Foreman was, as JW says, a beast. He's also a free agent. Is his most likely outcome that he returns? Do you guys think?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I would peg it as the most likely for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, he was on the street. You know what I mean? He was literally I don't even think he was on a practice squad.
You're a private chat.
I mean, just trying to get through it, man.
Oh my god.
Jeez.
Yeah, that was crazy because the Texans, did they draft him was it like the second round? It was
the Davis Mills? I think it was the third round. Right?
Now you're leaking the private chats. I was talking about Donta Foreman.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm fucking ever since I found out like World's at War, I haven't recovered.
Third round. I just looked it up. He was the third round pick, but yeah. And he
tore his Achilles. He tore his Achilles like immediately.
And he was the one that was supposed to be kind of like, he was the heir apparent to the Arian Foster empire in the Houston backfield. And people were stoked on him. I mean,
I liked him a lot.
Yeah.
He had like a 98 in the running back prospect model. Like he crushed.
If you were
in terms of
Reed Rhodes
production.
at that time, when he came up as a prospect, you liked him for sure.
Yeah.
God
Sean
damn
was,
it.
to Sean's credit, he was like a little bit skeptical of him relative to his eye-popping numbers in the lab and stuff. But
yeah.
But he just popped in the numbers.
Yeah, I was listening to I think it was Travis May on the RotoViz Overtime podcast. It was pretty cool listening to him talk about some of those adjusted metrics he had been looking at for quarterback play. You said you're going to be doing a podcast with him soon?
Yeah, tomorrow.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
That stuff sounded pretty cool. He was talking about adjusting for, certain things like play action and stuff that can often skew the stats for some of the quarterback, and that it's shown to be a little bit more predictive. So I'm excited to see how that shakes out for this year's class.
Yeah, I am too. And like anything that can help us predict these quarterbacks, I just think it's so hard. It's the most important position in sports, and yet it's like so hard to predict who's going to be good at it at the NFL level.
Yeah. It really is. I think like what's your gut on, I mean, I was talking about it earlier, like late first, like where do you think the dynasty, say Superflex, like cliff is, or the tier break for this year?
I think post draft it's going to be like maybe after the 106 there'll be a tier break, or after the 107 there'll be a tier break. But you could also see it was probably about the 106. I think there'll probably be a couple quarterbacks that people are talking themselves into. Breece Hall for sure, and then at least 3 wide receivers that I think people will be excited about.
Mm-hmm.
Like excited about is like early first round rookie picks and non-super flex type of picks. And those are Traylon Burks, Drake London, and Garrett Wilson.
Yeah. And then, I mean, the quarterbacks are probably the most, wild card thing as they pertain to dynasty drafts. Because another thing Travis was talking about on that show was that a couple of the teams that, really need quarterbacks are later picks where they could reasonably go when you talk about the Bucks, the Saints, and those could be pretty exciting, spots, at least for immediate fantasy production.
Yeah, which is interesting because like in those types of situations, you don't always see like that's a guy who might like sit for a year. But I don't know, those are always a little riskier too. Like I think teams move on from those types of picks quicker. Like if that guy stinks, then the team's probably going to have a really high pick the following year, so it's easy to move on. So a lot of the reason that I like taking quarterbacks early in superflex drafts, like that, those types of picks don't necessarily give you the same level of insulation. Like even Zach Wilson, for example. Zach Wilson is starting for the Jets next year. There's no question about that at all. And you don't necessarily get, if Zach Wilson was the 29th pick and just had the season that he just had, he'd have maybe like a 50% chance or less of starting for the Jets. So it does make a big difference to have that draft position.
Yeah. Gretch, are you feeling the pull to start setting up on the rookies or not quite yet?
I mean, I've been looking a little bit. Potting with Sean certainly adds to that. So I've been talking to him a little bit about it. I would say I've looked at some of the first round guys and stuff. I wouldn't say that I have a good idea of the deep targets at all, but I have a decent vibe on a lot of these dudes, other than like the guys named David Bell, who I don't care about. But at this point,
David Bell's going to be pretty good, I think.
I mean, I'm sure I'll love him at some point, but his name is just boring.
MVS goes. That was the guy we
that
were
was Pat's
for.
sneaky one. I should also mention why we're talking about Dynasty. So in the Ship Chasing Discord, which if you're a YouTube member, you get access to, Sam Sherman is putting together some best ball dynasty leagues for the Ship Chasing guys in there. So if you're interested in that, a good reason to hop in. He's got a Google form or at least a way to collect names, and currently debating whether to go super flex with those dynasty best ball leagues, which I think we will. So I always try not to add more dynasty leagues to my plate, but if there's one way to get me to do it, it's with a dynasty best ball super flex. Then I'm in.
I'll jump in one of those. I'll jump in.
Yeah.
It'll.
I don't know if I got to fill out the form or whatever, but
we'll get you VIP access, Pat.
Appreciate that.
That was Chris G who took our pick, and he's celebrating in the chat.
He's just so happy right now that he sniped his son.
So
Austin Hooper is still there.
Yeah.
Let's
Austin
grab
Hooper
him.
want to close out tight end.
All right,
yeah, let's grab him.
And Joku already went.
I think
we're deep.
Didn't we drafted Hooper last time because we had Landry and then we backdoored the Baker stack? I think we did that.
Yeah.
So Dubner's going to now tell me we have 66% exposure to Austin Hooper.
Nice.
I mean, he's a starting tight end. I mean, that's not bad in the 17th round, tight end premium.
And,
this is tight end premium, right?
With Njoku potentially leaving, they're going to add receivers. Like they might lose Landry. They're talking about pay cuts and stuff, and they're going to add some receivers. But like if Njoku leaves, I think Harrison Bryant's going to play more, and it's still going to be 2 tight end sets. But it's probably not like a bad thing for Austin Hooper.
Yeah.
No.
He's
There's some wide receivers here that are okay.
Let's see here. I like how whose team is this? So team 10, they took Cook and Akers early, then pounded everything else and then came back. And I think, in hindsight with the way this draft broke, living in this, round, basically for round 10 on, it seemed like the running backs were the best values at almost every pick. It would have been a good draft to just really piss yellow and then kind of scoop up all these good options, because Nyheim Hines in the 16th round, Kenyon Drake in the 17th, like these aren't bad.
Yeah, McKissick still hasn't gone.
Yeah.
Completely agree.
Yeah. We could have pushed it more. But I mean, like Ramondre in the 10th is actually pretty incredible.
What are we doing with these last 3 picks? That we can pretty much just go receiver.
I think so. Yeah.
So we're done at tight end.
Oh, we could take a third QB.
I think definitely 2 wide receivers, and then either and then kind of luxury pick.
Yeah, a QB or another running back.
Yeah.
McKissick and White, that's a good turn. 17, 18, jeez.
That's nice.
Yeah, I like that. I don't mind. I mean, of the quarterbacks here, I mean, Davis Mills is the one that I feel like would make sense for us as a third QB. Maybe improves year 2, get a little stack equity with Brevin Jordan. Maybe they draft Sky Moore, all those things.
Yeah, I don't know. I could see it. By the way, James White is a free agent.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't love that.
I
mean, given who else is available.
Who so yeah, we either
G's gonna take Mills if we don't.
Who do we
Is Mills really all that's left?
Yeah, I mean, there's Wentz, Mills, Garoppolo, Taysom Hill. I mean, it's pretty much done. I guess Darnold's there.
I'm good with Mills if you want to do.
Yeah, let's grab Mills.
Let's take a third QB. He wasn't bad as a rookie.
No, he wasn't bad. It's weird. He really wasn't.
Chris, you team 5 are telling me that we're short at wide receivers.
He's trying to get Mills. That's why I said he joked earlier he wanted to stack him. I think he actually wants to stack. He took MVS. That's why we took Mills. I'm reading that as he wanted Mills, and that pushed me to want Mills more because he took our MVS.
Yeah, we're not gonna fall for your games. We're not playing this. Yeah. I don't mind. I like in these 20 rounds. Most of my underdog drafts, I have done 3 QB builds. Granted, that's skewed because I've been missing on some of the elite guys. I finally grabbed Lamar Jackson in the 5th of one of those to try to get a little bit more exposure. But just early too, with still so much uncertainty with free agency and stuff, I've just felt more comfy with the 3 QB builds.
Yeah, I've been liking the 3 QB builds a little bit more too.
I think it makes a lot of sense. I mean, back in the day, like when MFL 10s were popular and Rotoviz and all that stuff, all the research that was done was showing that 3 QB was a lot more effective. I think people undervalue because like we know that a lot of receivers help, but I do think sometimes some of the research, it's more the round constraints in some of that research. Like a lot of stuff Leone's done is based on 18-round drafts, for instance.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. But the third QB does add value when you have the additional rounds.
Well, the other thing, I was thinking about this the other day of, we talk about, diversifying in the portfolio and how I would like to adjust my meter here as Chris jokingly says 3 QBs is for cowards, is like earlier on in the season, I'm willing to be in the off season more, robust at positions like running back and tight end. And the closer we get to the season and we have way more information on depth charts, injuries, free agency, all that jazz, then I'm willing to start to push the hyper fragile stuff more, the 2 QB builds, the 2 tight ends, because I at least know like this guy's going to be on the roster and he's going to at least be playing week 1. Whereas right now there's uncertainty from so many different vectors that I just feel, and I'm willing to be risky. I love pushing it to the max, but this early in the offseason, I haven't really felt
it's a fair point. Like, I mean, we're going to win this with Aaron Rodgers retiring and Ryan Tannehill and Davis Mills putting up top 15 seasons.
It could happen.
There's a question about why not a rookie quarterback, which I think is kind of interesting. Did any rookie quarterbacks go?
That's also an interesting thing. And this is a good reason too, of just, we're casually talking and I'm just looking at ADP that we're probably a little more anchored to QB.
We're
ADP
just kind of forgetting people. It's not even like anchored. We're just like that's a great point. And I think maybe we should have taken Sam Howell because Sam Howell will be a starter for someone. and he's got a lot more rushing upside and just rushing ability than Davis Mills.
No, Bonefish, these were just out of sight, out of mind guys for us.
Yeah.
I mean, we did pick Mills because we had a little bit of a stack, but on Underdog, these guys have ADPs that are popping up in the queue. So unless you're manually adjusting your ranks or setting your queue, like Malik Willis has an ADP of 350, a rank of 984 in the FFPC system. So we're just chatting and have not been going out of our way to update our queue.
The ultimate backhanded compliment here.
Yeah.
I mean, just Eco's great game theory. Not usually too impressed with your strategy, but bravo on the 3 QB breakdown.
You could have left that last part out there.
Yeah, you just maybe say great game theory.
I need to finish top 10 in a basketball tournament for the 3rd straight year in a row, and then
that was a good flex.
Yes, Doug, if you want to compare basketball receipts, I'm happy to do it anytime you want, buddy. The QBs, it's interesting just how that works because all those QBs have top 20 ADPs on Underdog, those rookie guys. Like they're going in these drafts. Pickett, Willis, who are the other guys in the conversation? Howell, who's the 4th?
Howell, Willis, Pickett, it's like Carroll or I'm pronouncing it wrong.
Oh, Matt Carroll or whatever.
Yeah.
Doug is Erica's new alt.
Corral. That's what it is. I know it's
okay.
I know it's screwing it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Corral, I think Corral's seen as someone who's going to all these guys are getting shuffled around, but at one time I think he was like kind of the consensus top guy.
See, that would have been my response. I wasn't thinking of the rookie QBs either, but I was gonna say, who do we take? You mentioned Howell looks like, because I heard Corral or Corral or whatever his name is. I heard his name more. I keep seeing Willis. There's some people who think who's the other dude is the number one.
Pickett's old. I
don't
know.
Not even Pickett. Who's the QB5, QB6 guy that some of the that like Justice Mosquito and Nate Tice, those guys love him. I can't remember who he is. Anyway,
sure.
I go to the
I don't know.
Desmond Ritter. Desmond Ritter. Is
Ritter. I haven't even
There's
heard that name.
A little bit of buzz that he could potentially be a guy who sneaks in the first round, and some people really like him.
I was just going to show you, this is the Ringer draft guide
nice.
I was talking about. So so you can filter by position, but then they have 3 versions. Like you can have the deep dive version, like with legit scouting reports, or you can just go the skim version.
Where does he have Howell?
So he has Howell going.
So he
does have Ritter. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Shades of Daniel
Howell
Jones
in the second, huh?
Yeah. Kenny Pickett, second. Malik
that's
Willis.
the trouble with this, man. Well, look, if Willis goes to the Steelers, he's going to be an awesome.
That would be sick.
Pick. Yeah.
I mean,
where are we at with our draft?
Yeah, sorry. Let me.
But I think the move was probably to gamble, especially because it's a 3rd quarterback, and Willis could have given us some upside too.
Willis, don't make this comp. I need a more favorable comp.
Will you run down like 10 to a dozen receivers right now?
Yeah. All right. Antonio Brown, Paris Campbell, John Mechie, Chad Hansen, Trent Taylor, Noah Brown, Taywan Taylor, Artavis Scott, Josh Reynolds, Josh Malone, Ryan Switzer, Isaiah Ford, Amara Darba,
who the fuck are these people?
Zay Jones, D.D. Westbrook.
Most of these dudes aren't in the league anymore.
I mean,
what do you think about Mechie? Oh, he tore his ACL.
I think Mechie's still kind of interesting, though.
All right. Should we take Mechie? I didn't hear a single other name that I even am confident is going to be on a team this year.
Yeah.
Zay Jones.
Dotson is
Paris Campbell.
Gone.
Oh, Jawan Jennings is kind of interesting from Uncle Andy here. He was pretty good for San Fran.
And I think, Paris Campbell still interesting, right?
Yeah. Justin Ross is gone too.
There's also some rookies, Jalen Tolbert.
Jalen Tolbert. Let's take him.
Yeah,
I keep hearing about him. You like him,
All right.
Pat?
I like him. Yeah, he pops.
Yeah.
in
Okay, I'll
numbers.
take Tolbert. Here we go. And then we'll need one more. Can round out with one more wide receiver. So we got 3
Do Mechie.
QBs, 5 running backs, 3 tight ends. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This will be our 9th wide receiver.
Yeah, we should probably take the receiver.
All right, I'll put Paris and Mechie in the queue.
I like that. Put Shakir in there too.
Who?
Khalil Shakir. I threw him in.
There's definitely additional dudes that are just like buried that are like legit wide receivers. I just can't think of any right now. So
I mean, Jameson Crowder stuck around for a long time, and he's gonna play for somebody.
Yeah, that's an example of one. Somebody like that, I think, makes some sense because we've taken a couple rookies.
You know who he's gonna be? He's gonna be like the Willie Snead last 2 years, where he's annoying. He's playing in front of someone else you'd rather see on the field, but he's still like producing a couple
Crowder?
usable weeks. Yeah.
Did Nelson Aguilar go?
I'm
I'm trying to look through
did
an
not.
ADP right now. I mean, I think he's.
You have you have your finger on the pulse of the Patriots wide receivers.
No, I wouldn't say that. But I mean, I do think they could pass more in year 2 with Mac Jones, and they signed all these dudes last offseason. Kendrick Bourne and him. Jacoby Myers is actually a free agent. Like Aguilar could actually wind up being part of the reason I like Myers is I just think he's good. He could be on a different team.
Mechie goes.
Deontay Harris is pointed out here. I think that's.
I don't know. If he didn't get the routes this year, I mean, he was good on a per route basis, but they're going to add additional pieces.
Man, he should have.
He should have.
He was pretty good.
Yeah.
Downfield threat.
I'm just a little worried.
Oh yeah,
about how
I
that's
feel
even
like
developed.
JW bangs the drum for Deontay Harris every week.
Yeah, he tore it up in targets per out run, like
Yeah.
top 5 on certain cutoffs.
I'd be into it.
I feel like Aguilar is like guy's gonna play.
All right.
Yeah,
Well,
I could do Aguilar too.
we went from saying wide receiver is gross to having 4 guys in
Too
our
many
queue
guys.
here.
I also think Nelson Bourne would make sense from the Patriots because like he was good this year.
Kendrick Bourne.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who are we?
I prefer Kendrick Bourne. Yeah.
Okay,
You
let's
want-
do Kendrick Bourne.
Okay.
He like came on.
you
late.
getting the
Oh, Bourne's
yeah.
gone. He's not. He's
Oh.
gone. So Deontay Harris, Aguilar, or Paris Campbell.
I would do Aguilar or Harris would be my number 2. I don't. Campbell's at that point where they're going to add receivers. I just don't know.
Yeah,
if he
you're
ever gets-
right. I'm good with Aguilar. He's a starting wide receiver.
There you go.
I don't think Campbell's a bad pick. I was on him last year. I might just have been a year early and be a little snake bitten, but
Yeah, he went at 15th round there too.
But I mean, if Bourne went in the 15th, why is Aguilar still there? They're not like different. Aguilar was
Because he
playing
didn't
over.
have a good playoff game.
Yeah.
That's the only reason.
All right. Give us your quick recap. I'll run down the full roster. You guys can give the final takes, and then we will get out of here. Travis Kelce in the first round. AJ Brown started to puke green here, rounds 3 and 4 with Saquon Barkley and Aaron Jones. Then we went Michael Thomas, Kadarius Toney, Aaron Rodgers, the rookie Garrett Wilson, Cortland Sutton, our guy Ramondre Stevenson, Ryan Tannehill, William Fuller, Jerick McKinnon, Sky Moore for the brand, Brevin Jordan, Myles Gaskin, Austin Hooper, Davis Mills, because we forgot about the rookie quarterbacks, Jalen Tolbert and Nelson Aguilar.
I like it.
It's a fun team.
I think
I like it
Aguilar's
too.
a good piece when you have Moore and Tolbert, and we were kind of thin at receiver, just to have a guy that can put up 60 yards. You know.
Yeah.
The 2v2 I kind of want to think about is like if we got I guess it didn't really come into play, but you know, if we had maybe had Kareem Hunt or Rashad Penny fall to us in the 9th, and then in the 4th we took a wide receiver. Like that would have been, which ultimately I guess we would have been bummed about because we wouldn't have gotten the running backs that we wanted there. But
Right.
it did feel to me like the 9th was a little bit dry at wide receiver. There was kind of a tier break in basically after Chase Claypool, there was kind of a tier break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if I could undo one pick, it would maybe be taking Ridley over one of these running backs, just knowing that we were going to like a lot of other running backs.
Mhm.
But it was a hard decision point there because both those running backs look like nice values, but it was a ship chasing draft room where these wide receivers were flying off the shelves. And another reminder, even in February, wide receiver is not deep.
It's not deep.
It's not. I think we did a good job with the late tight ends. I think Jordan and Hooper's a really nice combo with Kelsey.
I like it
where
too.
we actually might. I mean, against FFPC, you only have to start 2 receivers. We might actually be flexing tight ends sometimes, which if we get a decent game out of either of those guys, it doesn't hurt to. I mean, it's just one of those reminders. There's 2 flexes, right? So it doesn't hurt to have 3 tight ends in tight end premium when you have the multiple flexes. I kind of liked what we did there.
And we got our guys, Chris G and Nez from the, who are you guys? The 5-hole here? Yeah. Eckler, Waller, Kamara, then Ridley, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Marquise Brown, Dak Prescott, Gasecki, as some people call him, Miles Sanders, Cordell Patterson, Julio Jones, Kirk, Tua, Parker, Nico, Brian Robinson, MVS, Crowder, Malik Willis, and Watson. Nice backdoor stack there on the Dolphins. Nice squad there from the Ship Chasers as well.
Eric points out that Tony over Zeke was probably pretty huge given the way the room turned out. And I agree. I think we would have been not as happy with the team if we did take Zeke.
That one was over my dead body.
That was a crack rock Robert Woods.
Well, hopefully with better results.
All right, guys. I know lots going on in the real world. We're all going to go and check up on all this. But as Pat mentioned earlier, it's nice to have this escape. We always appreciate you guys joining us on Wednesday nights. And just wrapping up some of our housekeeping things. Check out that form for Omnifantasy. I'll drop it in the show notes, and it's also on Twitter. You can find the thread on Ship Chasing. Get registered for the Omni Cup because, Gretch, right? Final warning, you're going to be locking
I'm going to start
up
these
those
leagues when I wake up on the West Coast tomorrow. Probably 9 a.m. West Coast, noon Eastern. I'll be sending out an email or something, or starting to write it. Maybe it won't come out until later.
Yeah. So be sure to get registered for that. Pat told us we have some wide receiver content coming. Keep an eye out for his podcast with Travis May tomorrow. Looking forward to that. I will. I don't think I have anything going on tomorrow. I'm taking tomorrow easy, but I appreciate you guys. Hop in the Discord if you guys would like to talk with fellow Ship Chasers throughout the week, and we will see you next Wednesday.